Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. All right, I need you guys to continue praying for me by leaving a dislike on this video. So in 2 short months, I had two major heartbreaks due to unusual circumstances. Let's go back a little bit in time. My grandmother passed away on December 5th, 2024, and I was in Taiwan for her funeral. She grew up in Taipei. And at the funeral, I went up to my grandmother's casket and I asked my grandmother to go talk to Mary Curry to see if she could uh, set me up with one of her great great grandchildren. My dad was so upset at the remark. And the reason I asked my grandmother is that my grandmother and Mary Curry coexisted here on Earth for a few months, and I thought they might have some chemistry together. I don't know. That was my logic, at least. And so in Chinese culture, we like to burn what we call heavenly banknotes to give to our departed ancestors. And so I placed a small chunk of bismuth in her casket because I knew it was going to be cremated, so that my grandmother could hand the bismuth to Mary Curry, so that Mary Curry could continue her research. Her polonium-210 is nowadays made from bismuth. And not long after I left the funeral, it's kind of interesting. I had sworn off using dating apps for a very long time. But while I was in Taiwan, I have a little bit of language barrier. Chinese, I'm not very fluent with in terms of some of the more complex idioms and phrases. So I have a hard time mingling with people there. And I was bored. And I thought I would check up on how dating apps look like nowadays, because the last time I used it, believe it or not, the last time I used it, Trump was president. I missed the entire Biden term in terms of using dating apps, if you could believe that. I before I knew it, well, I was gonna use the dating app to get ahead of things, so that when I come back to Phoenix, maybe I could go out with somebody. I didn't realize nowadays, because again, it'd been 4 years since I used them. Nowadays, the dating apps follow you wherever you go. I didn't realize that, but I thought, that's fun too. And the funny thing is that I know this is crazy, and I'm gonna get a lot of dislikes because of it. I sometimes don't put in my actual age the way it appears on my ID, because my body is just not the right age. But when I got to Taiwan, see, I think I exaggerated my age by 10 years, so I'm only 27 years old on the dating app. And when I used the dating app in Taiwan, I quickly realized that girls over there who are 27 are way too young. They look like they lied about their age. They're not even legally allowed on the app. They lied. And so I had to create a new profile. And besides, I wanted to do that. There was a lot of garbage in my old profile that I no longer am proud of, right? I was doing stargazing. I was writing computer games. No, that's child's play, right? Nowadays, it's all about the bismuth, right? And so I had to create a new profile anyway. And before I knew it, I still distinctly remember the only match I got in Taiwan. I was using Bumble, and I clicked, I was swiping right on almost everybody, because this is Taiwan. People actually take good care of their bodies. They have good, solid careers. And the only people I swiped left on were people who were clearly doing it for nefarious purposes, right? They were advertising their business, or you get a lot of those profiles in Taiwan, believe it or not. But I was swiping right on pretty much every real profile. And so I still distinctly remember the one I hit that said "bang," and the Bumble, her account didn't allow you to message her until she messaged you first. Some of them allow guys to message first, but it gave her 24 hours, and you get one free boost, which gives her another 24 hours. And I waited 23 hours, and then I used the boost, and then I anxiously watched, and sure enough, at literally almost the last hour, she finally responds. And I guess there was a little bit of fear of missing out. And before long, I was chatting with her on Instagram as well. I found out about her She really supports pride movements. And unfortunately, I got to see her on my last night in Taiwan. And when I left, I was so heartbroken. I barely had any energy to get into my uh, apartment and clean up everything. And my roommates were really nice in helping me pack. I get home and continue using the dating apps. And back in the United States, it's a whole different game, and I got really frustrated. I had such an easy time in Taiwan. I almost want to travel just so I could go date again. It's probably a lot easier in European cultures as well, in Taiwan for sure. Maybe Japan as well. I almost want to do that, but then again, I'll just get my heart broken when I have to go home. So I don't. It's a mixed bag. I had posted a photo of myself pointing left, and I said, "Please swipe left." Out of frustration. It's kind of like Peter Dislike. And before I knew it, I met a girl. She was unfortunately she was traveling at the time, so she lives here in Houston, Texas. That's why I'm here. And once again, I get my heart ripped out again. And I mean, we've only seen each other twice, and it's hard to say if we have good chemistry or not. It'd be nice if we lived closer and could see each other a few more times, right? Right now, it would be kind of crazy for me to commit to coming to her regularly, so that's not going to work either. And so once again, I get my heart torn out again, and I'm just a big magnet for these long distance relationships for some bizarre reason. Now, there's another kind of long distance relationship that I'm a big magnet for, and this one we don't even have a vehicle for traveling. I sometimes get along with somebody who would otherwise be a good match, except for age differences in either direction. By the way, I had a coworker that I really got along with, but she's 20, 30 years my senior, and sometimes I get along with some of the student workers at the community college where I teach, and if only we could travel in time, right? I sometimes joke how many trips to Proxima Centauri and back I would have to take before I could date, or I have to send her on a trip there and back before we could start dating, right? I meet a lot of people that are like that, right? That we actually do get along with. Other than that, right? So that's like a long distance relationship that we don't even have a vehicle for, right? But unfortunately, I'm a big magnet for all of that for some bizarre reason, either in time or in space, right? It's so weird. This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum.